Took a red eye from San Diego to Orlando on October 13th, 2010. I brought my friend Matt Lingo along with me to film this video and to assist me during the shoot.
I'm not going to be good at this video thing at all.
We arrived in Orlando the morning of the 14th, and Sal picked us up from the airport.
We are in Orlando, Florida, waiting for Sal to pick us up in a van that looks similar to that, but doesn't have decals on it.
Sal's a Day to Remember's tour manager and day-to-day manager. On our way to Ocala, we stopped at my friend Gage's house and borrowed his portable power. Then we drove about 90 minutes or so to Ocala and got our hotel. Sal dropped us off at our hotel just so we could check in and stuff, and then we hopped back in the car and cruised downtown with him to scout a public location I wanted to use. Remember, the more control you have of a location, the better, so that's really what I was trying to do here. We were going to be shooting in like a downtown kind of public area for the first day, and I wanted to make sure that was good to go.
Alright, so we're having trouble deciding exactly what kind of costumes to use. So right now Sal, right there, is calling Jeremy, and we're going to meet up with him in 5 minutes, I just heard him say, to discuss with Jeremy what concepts we're doing.
A good amount of planning for the shoot was done on the fly, and it's really important to just go with the flow when you're working with the team. I went over everything I had planned for the shoot to try to give them the idea of what I was going for and what I had in mind. I discussed the multiple locations for the first day and the alligator farm I had planned for the second day.
I'll just go over like everything we're doing as a whole. We're doing sort of like what we discussed as like the Jackass kind of theme tomorrow. We just don't know what to do for the costumes. Like what to do for outfits. What would be like too much, too little, or what would even fit you guys. Or I don't know. And then after that we're doing basically all like the location stuff, the simple like laying down just different pose stuff, like more general purpose stuff
like your regular wear.
Mm-hmm. And then this next day we're doing library, and I think we're doing an alligator farm. We're waiting for the callback, but it could be fun.
That's cool.
I asked the guys if they had any images they liked of bands that they looked up to, not necessarily in sound, but just in style. Kevin mentioned that he liked a shoot they had done for Rock Sound recently, so he showed me the images from that, and it helped give me an understanding of what they were going for or what they wanted to see.
Do you mean, are you referring to the crop or are you referring to the
I'm referring to, I like it when you see the band, and the band is more of the picture than the background.
I gotcha.
Because it's not really going to help if I were to start getting frustrated with people or, getting mad at them for not sticking to the plans and, wanting to switch it up last minute. The goal is to be ready for anything, open to changes, take everyone's ideas into consideration, and just make it happen.
There was a lot of ideas, whatever we can do.
Well, your photos are going to sell your record, ideally second to the music, so make it good. Doubt it? Yeah. Alright, well, that's how I like to think of it.
We needed to agree on a call time for the next day and eventually came to a conclusion that it would be around 11 a.m.-ish. Sal immediately typed up an email and sent it out to the whole band, so we were all on the same page.
Figured out what props we need. Now I have to go buy all the props so that we're ready for at least our first location tomorrow. Everything's pretty last minute, but it's falling together slowly. And it will work out. I promise.
We also decided that we would need Halloween costumes for one of the concepts, so now to find some Halloween costumes to buy.
Right now we are shopping at Goodwill, and then we're heading over to Walmart, which is over there, and then we're hitting up Big Lots, and we're just getting costumes for our first location tomorrow, which we decided we're doing Halloween-like costume things. Oh my god, either or.
This one's even crazier.
We wanted to find outfits that were funny, but at the same time made the dudes still look semi-attractive. We didn't want to lose fans from a photo shoot.
Dude, these are disgusting and awesome, Buck. Look at that fat one.
By the time we finished shopping, we were all hungry, so we grabbed some food at a local favorite of Jeremy and Kevin's. I did some brainstorming with Matt for the shoot the night before and wrote down different setups and ideas in my sketchbook.
We would do wide angle close up, but just in the field, but that would have to be more towards sunset because
they seem to be all about the flare and how that red was hitting.
Yeah, so that do sunset.
I do this to just, help get my thoughts and ideas straight so that I'm good to go mentally for the shoot the next day. I had my other assistant, also named Matt, arrive that night to make sure everything was good to go with him and to meet him. He was bringing all the gear we were using for the shoot, a car to get around in, and assisting me throughout the shoot as well. He brought a pretty good selection of gear with him. He brought 3 Alien B800s, giant softbox, large softbox, giant octabox, some gels, light stands, a boom arm, vagabond, and a tripod. I had never really met Matt before, but prior to the shoot, I posted a tweet requesting assistant for the 15th and 16th in Ocala, and Matt responded. I gave him a ring a few days before, and we went over everything he would need to bring and what time he would need to be there at. In addition to that, I gave him some more specific guidelines on how the shoot should be handled. This is the body of the email I sent to Matt. For some people, these are all no-brainers because they've done it before, and for others, this is all new information. So just to be safe, I tell everyone the exact same thing. And it's a pretty straightforward tone. I tell them exactly what I want them to do. Just cut straight to the point because I don't want there to be any room for misinterpretation. Some of the stuff people might take personally and be like, well, why do you think I would do any of that? And that's not really what I think. It's just if I don't tell them not to do it and then they do it, I'm the person at fault, not them. So I just want to make sure that I get all of that stuff out of the way ahead of time.
Made our schedule for tomorrow and the next day. And yeah, now we're all on the same page and we're ready to go, ready to shoot, ready to do our thing.
Later that night, I met up with Sal again to grab some last-minute items for the shoot. Water, sweat rags, and catering really wouldn't make sense for the shoot because it wasn't really studio-based and we would be on the go both days. So we decided that during the shoots, we would just take breaks and grab food from a local restaurant or something. Well, right now we are packing up the car. We actually just packed it up, waiting for the other Matt to come, and we're heading to the first location about 40 minutes early to start setting up and just scouting the area. First location is the one with all the costumes, and the guys are meeting us at the gazebo at 11 o'clock. Right now it's 7 after 10, and we're gonna go get some lotion first so that their tattoos look good in the photos. Oh, and look, here comes Matthew. Perfect. We crammed all the lighting gear, both Matt's, me, and all the band's clothing, waters, and lotion for their skin into Matt's car. When we got to the location, we set up the softbox and tested everything out beforehand, just basically trying to get as much done before the band actually arrives to the shoot. Traffic cop came and asked what we were up to, and we explained and were really nice to her. She was actually pretty cool, and we ended up working out a deal with her so that she wouldn't ticket us even if we stayed in the same spot for the whole day. Matt is holding a light with the softbox on it, and he has the portable power in his backpack. Let's call the other Matt Lingo because that's his last name, and it'll help us avoid some confusion here. And Lingo is filming and keeping pedestrians from walking into the area we are shooting right now. The idea was to be as mobile as possible so that less time was spent tearing down, setting up, and more time was spent shooting the actual images. My main goal is to have the assistants do most of the busy work so that I can stay behind the camera, plan the shot, and work with the band as much as possible. We started our shootout in the middle of this big, open, concrete area. Pretty simple location, but we just needed solid, safe images in case everything else we tried with these outfits failed miserably. The first locations are usually the hardest to shoot, as their subjects are just getting warmed up, so why suggest starting with something simple to get everyone's blood flowing? So, Jimmy, open up a little bit more so you can see your outfit. Spread your legs out even more and just be like, perfect. As you can see, I am pretty straightforward with the guys, and I tell them exactly what I want them to do. Specific is good, but also give them a little bit of room to make the shot their own. You want to take pictures of them, but also capture their natural personalities. And then
Getting a sunburn on the back of my legs.
It's good for you.
The sun is
lotion up there.
my legs have never seen the sun before.
It's burning.
Shooting at high noon is always rough, as the sun's light is relentless and will always find a way to creep into your images in ways you don't want it in your images. But we had to do it. I tried to shoot low to get the sun to hit their backs as much as possible and, keep all their facial features and everything that I wanted in the shot in the shade as much as possible. So all the lighting for these shoots was pretty much done with one box. There is an exception. One shoot had 2 boxes, but it was the same effect, just a little bit wider spread out. For this first shot, I just used one softbox up in front here, and I angled it down so it hit everybody's head equally. Shot at f14 exposed for the sky, and compensated for that darkness on their faces with the softbox. 1/200th of a second is really the highest sync speed I can get, so I did it all the way up there to kill as much natural light as possible, and ISO 200 just as that's what I usually use. Shot really wide to try to get that popping effect, 17 millimeters, that's as wide as my lens would go. But all these shots I'm shooting for Photoshop, so I know what I'm going to edit them like afterwards, so I'm shooting so it's ready for that. I like to think of it as starting out by shooting a flat image so that when you go into editing you have room to just push everything around, whether it be making, a midtone, a shadow, or a highlight. You have a little bit of room there. So like I said before, the softbox is used for their faces, but then to separate them from the background I use the sun, and that just gives a nice little rim light over all of their backsides because the sun is just one massive light source.
Ridiculous.
Jeremy, do you want to see these?
Pictures are ridiculous.
You want to see the pictures?
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's a good idea to show them some of your shots partway through the shoot. It helps them take personal notes on what they need to change in order for them to look good in their own eyes. But try to show them the good ones, and if your images are badass, they get stoked and more into the shoot. There were some protesters nearby, and Neil wanted to get a sign so he could join them, sort of goof around.
What do you want to say?
Our album stuff, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because then it looks like we're a part of the protesters, but we're just like advertising.
So we got him a sign. Matt ran to a nearby Walgreens and picked up tag board and a Sharpie and drew something out for him. It's always a good idea to know where your local camera shops, convenience stores, coffee shops, etc. are, just in case, you need something or someone you're working with needs something and you need to snag it last minute. We never ended up using the protester concept, but this reiterates the whole go with it mentality I was talking about earlier.
Hey, Alex! On the right, we have a retirement home field trip.
We also shot some images of the guys walking around in the outfits, but I ended up scrapping them all as they didn't look so great. Some random girls came up and asked for photos with the band, and I said no, but the band said yes, so they took a picture with them. I thought the girls knew who the guys were, so they're going to take a picture with them and post it online, but turns out they just thought they were dressed cool, so that works for me. When you're working with bands or clients in general, it's your job to make sure they can stay on task. However, with bands in particular, they're never going to be the one to turn away a fan or somebody asking to take a picture with them, so you sort of have to be the bad guy and, tell them to buzz off. At the end of the day, you have to get your job done, and if that means having a few kids pissed off at you because they didn't get to take a picture with the day to remember, then go for it. We packed up and headed for a lunch break. These are the two final images from the shoot we ended up using, and they're not my favorite shots, but the client liked them a lot, and that's important. And I think the costumes definitely make the images, though. Without those, they'd be pretty boring. I think we went to Zaxby's Chicken, but I'm not exactly sure.
Alright, we finished the first location, which is just basically them dressed up in their costumes, doing weird stuff, like harassing people, standing in the middle of the street, standing in the middle of like a public area, just being awesome, and now we're out to eat. And then we're going to our next locations.
Our next location was a tunnel underneath a highway that connected two different parts of a college campus. This meant lots of people walking by us all the time. Luckily, there was an event going on, so we didn't have too many people in the way, just a few. I took some test shots with the Mats and Neil before the rest of the band arrived. This way, when they got there, I could shoot right away.
We gotta do a little more pose than like what we just do. Serious shots is probably the only serious stuff we're gonna do all day. Cool. After this, we're going to water, and then we're going to go to the field, and then we're done for the day. Cool.
Tell me if I need to tip my hat.
Just gonna hang. Yeah, perfect.
And how do you want?
Come right here for me, Alex. Thank you for a sec. Amazing. That's awesome.
To who, Adam? To who?
Can I do this? Yes. 1, 2, and 3.
Kevin refuses to put his ass on.
So you can see the light setup is almost identical to the first setup. The only difference is I have added a backlight with yellow gel on it, as the sun can't reach them while they're inside the tube tunnel kind of area. I started off the shot with these guys standing up, but I wasn't really feeling any of the shots, and the guys weren't that into it, so we ended up switching it up. Basically what was happening was the ceiling wasn't tall enough, and I couldn't get my box up high enough and shoot it down at the correct angle to get all the guys evenly lit. If you look at this bird's eye view here, you can see that the guys in the front are getting way more light than the guys in the back because I'm pretty much shooting straight at them. It's a little bit above, but their heads basically touch the ceiling. Maybe are like 6 inches, a foot away. Nothing too crazy. I find that when nothing is going well and the vibe is off for the shoot, switching it up and starting over is probably your best bet. So I ended up scrapping this standing up shot, took the guys out of their position, changed my lighting a little bit, and started over. I had the guys sit down on the ground, I just told them, sit down, natural, whatever works. This positioning let me angle the box at the correct angle so I could get light on all of them. It was coming from more overhead directly down at the front of their faces. I had my shutter speed at 1/40th of a second, and my aperture was at f5 because I wanted to use some of the ambient light in the tunnel. You'll see once you see the final image on like the right, there's like a yellow light in there, and that's why I used that yellow gel so everything would match within the tunnel. So yeah, I shot wide and I shot low. I was pretty low to the ground shooting them. I wanted to be at eye level with them, if not a little bit lower, to get that nice, big, wide kind of, cartoony feel without being super right up in their face. So this is right where I got the keeper. This is what the final image looks like. Very bold, in your face, but I think the sitting came across really nice. Kevin's squatting down or crouching, whatever you want to call it, but I sort of like the effect he gives to the photo. Good shot. We hit up 2 other locations that day, and the first one was right by the water.
Can I do it here? 1, 2, 3. Looks really good.
Snapping, dog.
My lighting setup for this shot was a softbox to camera left, or like pretty much over my shoulder, and an octabox to camera right. Again, the sun was at their backs, or to their back right, my left, to give them that rim light, and it creeped onto their faces a little bit, but not too much. So the idea behind using an octabox on one side and a softbox on the other you could switch them up. It could be both softbox, it could be both octabox. It doesn't really matter. Those are just the 2 boxes I used. Basically, all the shadows cast by the box on the left would be filled in by the box on the right, and vice versa. And it just sort of gives that nice uniform light, and that lack of shadows gives that cartoony kind of popping effect that I really like. If I were to just use one of these, then the other side would be more shadowy and vice versa. So the use of both of them is really important. This is the only image we ended up using from that setup. A lot of them didn't really turn out, or the label didn't like, or I didn't like. So yeah, this is the image we decided on. Great, bold image, different location, water, so just something to switch it up a little bit. I usually take test shots using my assistants, but the guys wanted some Facebook photos, so I tested the light with them instead.
Alright, let me try. Right there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Test me.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Sexy as fuck.
Sometimes it's a good idea to stand in for the band and show them how you want them to look. This also gives you an idea of how hard it is to get into the position that you want them to get in. Obviously, for this setup, it's just standing up, so nothing too complicated.
Did everybody talk about that staggered thing, or is that your concept?
My concept, bitch.
Try that real quick.
You don't have to do shit. I'm just saying that's
okay.
But for the more intricate positioning or sitting down shots or things like that, it can really be helpful to show them how to pose first. This last setup was shot basically around sunset, and I used just a large softbox to light everybody up. It was a little bit farther away, so it did hit everybody's face. The light just wasn't as nice as it would have been if it was closer. But I think it turned out looking pretty good anyway. I love shooting at this time. Everybody loves shooting at this time. You can get an awesome rim light and not have a lot of like ambient fill. And it's just really, really beautiful looking. You can see that it just hits everybody's side of their face real nice and gives them that really nice warm feel. The downside is it's pretty bright then, so everybody's squinting. So you have to shoot everybody with their back to the sun. A lot of these lighting setups don't take very long, and that's because at a shoot, sometimes the part that takes the longest is just getting out there. So all of my shoots were like 30 to an hour tops. But getting out there, getting ready, getting everybody situated and all nice clothes and stuff takes a lot of time. Especially if you have a makeup artist or something, then you're going to be spending even more time doing that kind of thing. After we did the spread out shot, I brought them together, made their backs totally towards the sun, so it was right at their backs. They could open their eyes really wide then, and just had the box right over my head. The positioning for this was really important. I even tried to show it in the diagram. You can see how everybody's shoulders are twisted one way or the other, just so they're not all facing straight forward. Just those little pivots, man, they make the biggest difference, and after a while you get used to it, and it's just like a puzzle that just works perfectly. So you can just start fitting them in next to each other pretty easily. We ended up using 3 final images from this location, and 1 wide one, 2 closer up ones, and they were used for a lot of their press images. I saw them in a lot of places, all over their MySpace, Facebook, etc., etc. I overshot the hell out of this location because I really liked the images, and the last thing I wanted to do was to not use the images because somebody looked funny. So we shot like probably over 100 images, and what's the difference between shooting 10 and 100 images? It's like 10 minutes. The part that takes the longest about the shoot is getting out there, setting up, arranging everybody. If you're out there, shoot away, pick images later, worry about it later. Get everything done while you can.
We got a sun in the field one, but
Ooh, you got a little flare action. I love it. I love the
how's that look to you guys?
I love the fucking flare.
The alligator farm was about 3 hours away, so we left a little early and hit up a Walmart on the way for their outfits.
All right, so we're doing our shoot at an alligator farm, and all the guys are dressed up. You can see them right here. And this is where we're shooting.
You're lying. I'm not kidding. This is what we're doing.
We hung around the farm for a bit until they had a gator keeper ready for us.
Just so everybody knows, it's a dangerous thing. It's
Yeah.
not a. It's not a.
It's not a fun thing.
Yeah. I didn't write down my real name. So when I do get bitten, I'm assuming.
I'm just trying to find the lowest spot in the sand.
Main course is coming through. I'm not ready for that.
I mean, we take people, walk them around, place them at the base of the tail where the leg meets the tail.
Yeah.
And then we take their picture while they're back, and that's all they get to do.
Yeah.
The keepers tossed some food pellets into the water close to the guys so that it would lure the gators over to by where their feet are.
Are you composing the shot?
Yeah, I'm doing everything.
Okay. That's the one we need to talk to. Basically, imagine this big dangerous circle around the animal. Sometimes the safest place to be is where we, like I said, where we stick us by the base of the tail.
Okay.
They tell you that these guys really like tattoos?
That's what I heard too.
I want to tell you what I'm thinking too. The people that are from here down can be close to the alligator. If we're going to fit the whole gang in here, anybody that's up by the head is going to be a little further back than that person.
You guys crouch down, hands on the alligator.
All of us?
Yep, everybody. Alex, you're fine.
Chill out. It's all right. Just make sure you're out of there.
So they bend down now, or? Alright, cool.
Relax.
Look at Alex in the corner. He's having a meal. Not here. 1, 2, and 3. Scared as fuck.
I want to see the good one.
For this first gator setup, it's pretty much the same as the first shot from the day before, except for this time we have a giant gator. So I was pretty restricted on where I could shoot from here and how I could light. I sort of had to just listen to the rules and go with it, and it actually ended up working pretty well. The downside was I was by the alligator's mouth, but I think the shots came out awesome. And the sun plays a huge role in these images, because keep in mind, everything that's not lit up by my flash is lit up by something else, and that's the sun. So the sun coming through those trees nicely just made for an awesome backlight slash, overall lighten and brighten of the whole image. So the guys started out standing up, and when they would sit down, I would just have my assistant lower the light, and then if they moved, the light would move. So things like that. We just had to ask before we did it. So in the side view here, you can see it's not accurate, obviously, but the guys are right next to each other in this shot. They're mostly pretty much touching each other because I needed them so close-knit. And I got really low so the alligator would be up pretty high in the shot and then shot up at them. So, there wasn't a huge disconnect between their faces and the alligator head. If I were to have stood up and shot down, it would have been more of an awkward-looking image. For shots with the gators in the water, it's pretty much like the shot just before this. The only difference is I had to boom the octobox so far over the water. Other than that, guys just hung out on the bench and played around. Just wanted to get the alligators in the foreground, and that was my main goal. So this is for the water, and it's a bird's eye view, and it's the same setup essentially. The only difference is there's water and 10 gators in between me and the guys. The hardest part was getting the boom over the water and the light close enough to them to light them up. This is probably the farthest I had the light from them in any of the setups because I needed to light up so much area. The water a little bit, them a little bit, the bridge, everything. Again, the sun at their backs, and I was also shooting at f7.1 in this shot. I needed that ambient light again to light up the surrounding area. And yeah, we had some time to kill while the keepers were getting the baby gators, so we shot some group images in their outfits and rehydrated and such.
Is that the one where you get the hole? That one's sick. It's kind of cute. He's a chiller. Look at this one under the that one. That one just hanging with the turtle. They're best friends. Yeah, they are. It's like Milo and Otis.
The shot was pretty restricted because the gators could swing left and right, and even with their mouths taped shut, they could still cut you because their teeth like stuck out on the sides.
There's like a few in this bag that are gonna struggle at first, just so you guys know. Oh, once they feel comfortable. Like that guy. I don't think anybody ate it. Yeah, you're gonna get slapped too with the tape. Remember, it's tapes off, so don't turn side to side. I got it. Yeah, otherwise he's gonna bite my hand.
Ah, that's sweet. Shoot. All right, on 3, guys. 1, 2, 3. Life is good. 1, 2, 3.
Let's take him back. He's not gonna do anything. Whoa, he's gonna shit at me now. I didn't do anything.
So for this last shot, we shot on just like a deck around the park. We weren't in with a bunch of gators. Yeah, the octobox was pretty much pressed up against the back of my head. It was as close as it could possibly get. Like, I was even pushing into it a little bit with my head so I could fit in there and take the photo. I wanted to get as close as I could get, as wide as I could get, and as soft as the light as I could get because I wanted that look, and that's what it took. All these shots turned out awesome, by far my favorite, and you can't really hate on the photograph because it has an alligator in it, and alligators are sick, so... I don't know. I like them all. But yeah, I did a lot of processing on these. There was a lot of background stuff that was all naturally lit and needed a lot of contrast added to it. So that took a lot of time. And just as a side note, you know, a lot of people have asked how we got access to the park. It was pretty simple, actually. I didn't actually get the park confirmed until about 2 days before the shoot. And I just called up, told them what we were doing, and they said, cool. Told me a price, and we did it. They actually charged us very little. Were really nice to us. One of the best places I've ever worked with. But most of the time in this world, if you're just straight and nice and human, genuine with people, they do the exact same back. So don't be afraid to just call somebody up and tell them what you're doing and ask them what you need to do to make it happen. They'll more than likely be ready to help you out and make stuff happen. We took a quick group picture with the team at the end and witnessed some tortoise sex while we were doing it. Tortoise sex is exactly how you would imagine it to be, just hilarious. That pretty much concludes all the shooting we did. After we were done with everything, we drove back, grabbed some barbecue on the way, and hung out in Ocala for the night. It was pretty easy, relaxing rest of the day.
Alright, so right now we are working diligently to re-tag and make all the shirts and pants we bought today look nice. And actually, Matt, if you want to take a field trip to the bathroom and show them what we're doing with the boots, that'd be great. Just soaking them in the water. Oh yeah, not about to lose $250 because we can't return stuff. So we're returning it all.
I don't know if I'm lost, but the soldiers looks the same. I am pushing on the door between sorrow and fame.